Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. At least 116 people have been killed, including a number of beheadings during clashes in the most deadly act of violence ever reported in Ecuador's prison system. There were angry scenes outside the prison at the Penitenciaria del Litoral in Guayas province, with family members of people inside desperate to hear news of their loved ones. 400 police officers have now entered the prison to try and restore order. The fight first broke out on Tuesday between rival gangs linked to drug cartels. This is the latest in a litany of incidents in Ecuadorian prisons. In February, 79 prisoners were killed in fights at 4 jails. North Korea's leader has offered to restore inter-Korean hotlines next month. In a quote published by state media, Kim Jong-un said, "Reactivating the lines would help realize the desire of the entire Korean nation for recovering cross-border relations." He had tougher words for Washington, accusing the US government of proposing talks without changing its hostile policy to the country. North Korea had severed the hotlines in early August in protest against joint South Korean-US military drills, just days after reopening them for the first time in a year. The former French president has been found guilty in a Paris court for illegal campaign financing.
Vive la République et vive la France!
Nicolas Sarkozy was found guilty of spending tens of millions of euros more on his campaign than was permitted under the law. He will not be jailed, however, and can serve his sentence at home. Mr. Sarkozy has denied any wrongdoing and is expected to appeal the ruling. More violence has broken out as an Israeli police officer killed a woman who allegedly tried to stab police in Jerusalem's Old City. Another Palestinian gunman was killed by Israeli forces in the West Bank during an overnight raid. The violence comes amid tensions heightened by the deaths of 5 Palestinians on Sunday. At least 4 of them were alleged members of the Hamas militant group and died during gun battles as Israeli forces carried out arrest raids in the West Bank. Italy's riot police have clashed with climate activists during a demonstration in Milan, where climate ministers are attending a pre-COP26 meeting. Ahead of the UN Climate Summit in Glasgow next month, climate ministers from around the world met today to set an agenda. Vetting proposals were put forward by Greta Thunberg and other youth activists at the Youth for Climate event earlier this week. A tornado has torn through Australia's rural southeast in New South Wales, causing chaos and damage but reportedly no fatalities. Roofs were ripped off houses and trees were uprooted, while power lines were also cut. Police and ambulance crews were called to Meadow Flat, a town of 300 people around 166 kilometres from Sydney, following reports of the tornado. The New South Wales State Emergency Service has issued a warning for people around the state to secure loose items outside their homes. Canada's Prime Minister has urged people to unite on the country's first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, which honours the lost Indigenous children affected by the residential schools system.
As a moment to remember and to reflect on the stories we tell.
Justin Trudeau said the day was one for all Canadians to reflect at a ceremony on Parliament Hill in Ottawa. Starting in 1831, Canada's residential school system forcibly separated Indigenous children from their families, subjecting them to malnourishment and physical and sexual abuse. Britney Spears has said she is on cloud 9 right now in what appears to be a response to a judge suspending her father as her conservator. The singer posted a video of her having a flying lesson shortly after the news with the caption "On Cloud 9." Spears' lawyer said it was his hope and expectation the conservatorship would be fully terminated at a hearing on the 12th of November. And finally, a rather unusual auction is kicking off online today. Called Machine Hallucinations, the collection is a set of immersive installations and artworks generated using artificial intelligence. The whole collection is tipped to fetch up to $1.95 million when the online auction heads to an end next week. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.